Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show. I have a special guest today, Brad Markus, and we're going to go into some deep topics and esoterics and ETs and ancient civilizations. Brad, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and experience and how you got into this and who you are?
Hello, how are you today, Sean?
I'm great. Good to be
Yeah,
here. Thanks for coming.
yeah, it's like I've heard your name before and now I'm just getting to know you. So, plus you were doing some videos with Yisha, and both of you have some really interesting topics, which kind of connects to one thing that I was into since high school, late high school, Akhenaten and Nefertiti. It was very fascinating for me when I first heard about them. It's like I was automatically drawn to them. So, and I noticed Issa went into detail about different theories about the 18th dynasty and what was really happening during Akhenaten's reign. So, my name is Brad Marcus, and I've been doing research on extraterrestrial contact and ancient civilizations since about 2014. But before that, I was always interested in esoteric knowledge, like lost civilizations or uh, ascended masters, ancient divine connections, mystery schools, mystery religions, even regular religions. So, but the Kant, well, many people are speaking about extraterrestrials, UFOs, extraterrestrials, and contact. And in some circles, the contactees were not included. The crafts were studied, but the people who said they met the aliens a lot of time were considered to be not true, like crackpots or something. But I think there's more evidence now that these people were really meeting alien humans and other species at those times and even now. So it's becoming a popular subject, the concept of disclosure, that we are going to meet these beings. It's something that I always resonated with, I guess. So, in ancient civilizations, because a lot of the buildings in ancient civilizations are huge. How could regular humans with no advanced technology in those days had built these giant structures with blocks that are so big? It's fascinating. So I think it connects to the idea that there were advanced civilizations in the past that were lost. Some of them may have been giants. So, which is in the story of the Nephilim, which is in the writings of Zechariah Sitchin about the Anunnaki. So my last talk was my last two talks, which were really my first ones at the alien event, were about the Anunnaki.
Nice. What kind of things did you go into with Anunnaki? What kind of things did you discover for people to dip their brains into knowledge?
Well, just that these beings had something to do with the creating or the recreating of humans. Some people call it genetic manipulation, or I believe the humans were there before the Anunnaki, but they did some kind of upgrade. And there's the idea in Zechariah Sitchin's books that Nibiru, this planet, crashed into a planet that was between Mars and Jupiter, and that the remnant is the asteroid belt. Some people say this is true, some people say it isn't, but in some of the stories are reflected in the Enuma Elish, the seven tablets of creation in the Sumerian writings. I can't make a conclusion either way myself, but there's a lot of evidence that does have something to do with it. And I brought up Elena Danaan in my talks because she says she met Enki, Ea, who is one of the main Anunnaki characters. So, what else did I talk about? Maria Orsic and the Vril Society. Supposedly in pre-World War II Germany, she was contacted by some Anunnaki beings, and they gave her plans on how to build an anti-gravity spaceship. So that's something else I mentioned in my talks.
Okay. And do you are because I found there's multiple camps with the Anunnaki stuff. I have my also personal opinions. Do you think they left, never left, are returning, split up? Some are underground in stasis pods, or what do you think?
Well, I believe there are some beings in stasis pods, but they're not necessarily Anunnaki. The stasis pods has to do with the Galactic Federation of Worlds or the Intergalactic Confederation. Then the Anunnaki, Anak Empire, as it's called by some, is a different faction. So they probably did leave, but they left an imprint on our civilization. And then the Nibiru ship, according to Elena, did come back in our solar system, but they didn't come on Earth. So that's her story about it. There may be other stories about it. So maybe they did leave or didn't. I don't know 100%. So
And what kind of species have you heard about?
well, there's a lot of species. There's different types of grays. There's insectoids. There's reptilians. Then there's different types of humanoids. A lot of them look like Nordics, light skin, like white hair. I feel drawn to those beings for some reason. So there's other races too. There's some hybrids of different mixtures. There's some that are gray mixture with human. Now that brings up this. There's this talk about a hybrid agenda where some of the grays have been abducting humans since the 1940s or early 50s and using the sperm and the eggs to create a hybrid race that supposedly wants to take over the earth from the humans here. So, and a lot of people may support those grays or beings or entities masquerading as grays, but maybe they don't have a good agenda for humans. So there's a lot of elements and aspects to those whole gray thing and different people's abduction experiences. So then there's also the secret space program where people were used maybe by MK Ultra programs and taken on a 20 and back. And then their mind was a mind wiped or whatever, where they couldn't remember it. And a lot of people have used quantum hypnosis, QHHT, which was founded by Dolores Cannon, from what I know, to retrieve those memories. So I'm kind of like, I'm interested in all these subjects, but I don't have any conclusive data on whose experiences are valid, whose aren't. It varies on what I actually think is true or not, based on what I'm reading or hearing from different people at different times.
What kind of things have you heard or experienced or found out about that is more credible that you have solidity to in like having to do with SSP, the secret space program?
Well, I like Tony Rodriguez experience. He wrote it in his book series Colony Cavalier. I've met a lot of the people that have had that experience. James Rink, I've met. You might probably know the names. I can't remember the guy. Another guy. Penny Bradley. There's a lot of people. I can't remember everyone's name. Johann Fritz. I thought he had the best story. And when I felt an energy in my ear, like a loud ringing after he spoke. Are you aware of Johann Fritz?
Not too much.
Yeah, you should look him up. He hasn't been doing any videos or anything, but I saw him live speak about it. So one of the famous people that was in the secret space program was Max Spears. He died suddenly. They say he died and this black stuff was coming out of his mouth after he died. So
Yeah, I spoke to him a little before he was dying. He was getting attacked heavily.
oh, wow, okay. I'm friends with Sarah Adams, and I guess her and him were dating at one point.
Yeah.
But I know her, so.
Yeah, some interesting theories with it. Okay.
Yeah, there's so much to it, but I'm interested in these things, but I don't have conclusive studies on them. But I'm interested to hear it. Anything that backs up the truth of extraterrestrial contact, I'm interested, because the official scientists are still saying we have not found intelligent life in the universe. They're still saying that.
All right. And how's your experience with ET contact?
So I've had some visual experiences and telepathic. I've seen a couple. There was one, it's called the Zuma Zeta, or the tall white Zeta. It appeared in front of me a couple times. And the person who made me aware of this being is Cynthia T. Crawford. She made extraterrestrial sculptures, and she was claiming to be half hybrid, that she was created in a test tube because her father was involved in the military. And she had a twin sister who wasn't alien, did not have alien DD.
What do you think of the alien hybridization programs and genetics introductions to different people on the planet?
Well, I'm not totally against it, but I guess these races had some kind of reason to do that. But there are some, I guess, that have a negative agenda, that they're trying to do something wrong to people. That's what I hear people saying. So.
And what kind of things have you heard about in new discoveries that you've been going through that have been sparking your flame of passion and discovery?
Well, I'm really was fascinated with Elena Danan's stories because she has met extraterrestrials in person, so, and been on their ships regularly. So, and I believe there's more people that have that experience. They may not be in the public eye. I'm trying to think of some other things. There's other, I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
Yeah, go for it.
I feel more and more. There's been a lot of sightings too. Ships, a lot more and more, a lot. So.
You're right. What are some that you've heard of recently? With seen a few different ones, and some AI ones that are. But I try to.
There are some fake ones, but I've seen some ones that look real. I had a dream of a giant spaceship. It was huge, but when I woke up, it wasn't there. But I feel like it was real somehow. I've heard people say the dreams are actually real, especially if they're that vivid. So.
Yeah, dream visitations. What did the ship look like?
Oh, it was round, very big and round, like a giant flying saucer, basically. And it seemed like it had a lot of windows on it. It was similar to the ones described by Elena Danaan, being the Intergalactic Confederation motherships.
Okay, so tell me about your research into Elena Danaan and the Federation.
Yeah, that a lot of people have talked about a federation existing, and some of the information comes from Star Trek, and I believe that they received messages from alien beings to create some of the stories. I've heard it said that Gene Roddenberry got his experience from the Nine, about the Nine, the Star Trek Nine, Deep Space Nine, from this lady. She wrote a book about the Nine, Phyllis Schlemmer, The Only Planet of Choice. And she has seems like it's a channeled information from the Nine plasmic super consciousnesses.
This is the Council of Nine. Which one is this?
No, just the Nine in their plasmic super consciousnesses. So they're not a council.
Gotcha. Okay.
Maybe they
Interesting.
are, but there are some different councils. There's a lot of galactic councils and even maybe different federations. Dr. Michael Sala, who's been researching exopolitics since maybe 25 years or more, he had a video today about different galactic federations that are spoken of by different people. So
And what do you think they're doing now, and how they act, and what their plan is for disclosure?
I feel they want humanity to stop fighting each other and be on a higher frequency, because a lot of these civilizations are more advanced. We have advancement, but we're also fighting and warring. We have to be more on a higher level of consciousness. And that's probably one of the reasons that's blocking the direct disclosure to civilians. So that's what I believe anyway.
All
And
right.
all of these, if you go to the contactees from the 50s, Truman Bethlehem, George Van Tassel, George Adamski, there were some other ones, Gloria Lee, they were all talking about stopping nuclear bombs, stop developing nuclear things.
Mm.
And they
And
talked about like a spiritual aspect. A lot of them brought a spiritual aspect to their message. Another lady who I've researched, Omnic Onic, she says she's physically from Venus. And she's brought that message too about people getting along with each other and having more love.
and how do you think humanity can get to a higher level of consciousness, and what is holding our consciousness level back, in your opinion?
Maybe the disagreement people have, or the idea of that war has to happen. People should strive more to avoid the wars. Obviously, everybody wants to not have war, but I believe people feel like if somebody is doing some injustice, that the war has to happen or a battle has to happen. I think the aliens are saying it's not necessarily always necessary that way. There are battles supposedly in space, though, between the reptilians and humans. So
Mm. Who do you think the negative factions are that we're fighting with in both humanity and off other races?
who are they?
Yeah, that are keeping our frequency down and also causing war.
Well, some of them are human and some of them are maybe reptilians or greys.
Why do you think they ETs want to keep us in war?
There might be some sort of plan behind it. It's possible. I really believe that.
Yeah. And what is your opinion on what humanity is?
What humanity is a universal species. There's humans all over the universe, so as well as other races. So I kind of believe that humans didn't originate on this planet. They were brought here from other places, not just one place, a lot of places. So the Lyran, a lot of people in their books are saying they're mainly from the Lyran constellations. And Lyran doesn't mean lions. It means it's just a certain part of the sky where these planets are. They were called the man system. And then the
Okay.
Pleiadian, a lot of people are from Pleiadian systems. There's also Arcturians, Andromedans. These are some of the main galactic races that come up in people's experiences and interactions. There's also Alpha Centauri. To me, this is interesting to me. The Alpha Centaurians supposedly settled Lemuria, which was in the Pacific Ocean. And a remnant of when Mu was destroyed or it collapsed or fell under the ocean, a remnant of them settled under Mount Shasta, and they're called Telos, Telos, Telosians. There's some information about this in Elena's book, A Gift from the Stars. So I don't know if I have the book here, but maybe I'm not going to show it in the video, but if you want me to, but I
Sure.
think people can just look it up. So there's something about the Telosians in her book. I made a video before, and some of the people in the chat didn't want me to speak about it or something. But I thought that that information resonated with me, that I'm probably from Alpha Centauri myself. There's
And
also
so,
the Paradise, California. You've heard of that? Because supposedly the fire happened in Paradise, California, because they were trying to develop some new technology to improve the humanity.
no, tell me about this. What are you talking about?
And the fire happened because they were trying to destroy those people, and those people had something to do with Alpha Centauri. Elena Denon met two people that were developing something to do with like Starlink, those Starlink satellites. I heard
Okay.
some other people speak about that there was a connection between the fire and that development of technology, that it was targeted. So
It's like Project Odin and the space lasers that would target different housing developments, and those overlay
right,
with rail systems in the works and smart cities that are
right.
planned in the future. You're talking about that? Okay. And what do you know about Mu, the continent?
Yeah, it was ancient civilization in the Pacific Ocean, even before Atlantis, and they were more organic from my intuition and some of the reading. They were more organic and earthy, and then the Atlanteans became more tech. They were into more technology. So
Okay.
there's a good book about it, the Lost Continent of Mu, by Colonel James Churchward. I'm just reading it now, so I highly recommend it. Some of the glyphs in here look like some of the things in those artifacts that you found. So they were found by somebody named David Niven, probably in the early 1900s. So
Interesting.
yeah, it is very interesting. I think it might connect to some of those things you found. Just look up his first book. Is called The Lost Continent of Mu. James Churchward. I'm looking at the book right now.
Mm.
Here's some of the, see those things?
Mm.
Fan carried by Princess Arawali. What he's saying is that a lot of in the Southwest and in the, say, Central America and in the Pacific Ocean, like Easter Island even, there's remnants in their buildings and their culture of the lost continent of Mu. Some remnants were also found in the Himalayas, according to his research. So I had heard about James Churchward many years ago, but I haven't read him until last year. I started reading one of his books.
What other kind of books would you recommend people read?
Yeah, I like The Secret Doctrine by Helena Blavatsky. Sort of ties in a lot of the ancient religions and spiritualities. And it says that humanity is 18 million years old. There's these stanzas of Dzyan, Dzyan, and they come from Tibet, come from the Himalayas, come from a Buddhist thing, but they're more ancient than Buddha himself. And they have keys. They're hard to read. They're not real hard to read, but they sound very mysterious. But I believe they have keys to some of our civilization. I recommend that. I also recommend Maximilien de Lafayette. He has some information about Maria Orsic, about the Anunnaki. He has some information I've never read anywhere else. So here's one of his books. Extraterrestrials, Messages to Maria Orsic and Anak, Aldebaran Script to Build a Vril. I highly recommend that book.
Looks interesting.
Most people I know,
toroidal physics.
Most people that I know have not read his work. So
yeah, he's probably covered up, right? Like Victor Schauberger.
Yeah, I know about him because he was involved in some of the stuff that the Germans were doing during World War II. W.O. Schumann, Victor Schauberger, I don't know, there's some others. I can't think of their names off. But supposedly Maria Orsic received some of this information on how to build this anti-gravity thing, and it was stolen by the Germans. So, and supposedly in the secret space programs, these things were preserved. So,
have you heard of any interesting programs going on in the SSP or deep underground military bases, etc.?
not really, but I listened to this guy, Jimmy Payne. He had some really interesting information. It takes him a long time to explain it, but I found it interesting. He's interviewed by James Rink. He's not a writer, but he had a lot of experiences, like a lot of detail, but it takes him like 2 hours to explain the whole thing. So, but I found him interesting. It was interesting.
Okay.
Somebody that people don't know about, unless they watch James Rink's show.
Gotcha. And what do you think of secrets in genetics and enlightenment? concepts and states of consciousness?
I feel like as we become more enlightened and tune into higher consciousness, we will become more, our bodies will advance. We'll probably live longer because of the higher consciousness.
Mm. What do you think that looks like, or examples or concept wisdom that you've gleaned in your meditations?
I just see that happening in the future, that people will live peaceful and longer lives somehow because of these advances. But it's got to come organically. It can't be forced. But there's a possibility that AI could be detrimental. There was a panel discussion at one of the conferences I attended. It was they weren't arguing, but it was a little heated about, some people were in favor of the AI and other people were saying we should be cautious because it can seem to be sentient when it is not. So
Mm,
yes,
right.
I need to explore it more myself, but if you as you can see, it's become a hot topic just in the last year or two. I hear it spoken about a lot more than maybe 2 years ago or even a year ago.
See. And what do you think of AI?
Oh, well, it can be used positively, and it's used a little bit now, but people need to be cautious with it, though. I
Okay.
think kind of have a balance. People need to rely on their humanity, on their love, on their feelings. Feelings are important. Feelings.
We got a question from the chat, and anyone in the chat, feel free to ask questions. Michael Abray says, "What do you think of the Urantia book?"
Right. I have it, but I haven't read it yet in depth. So I know it supposedly has different information about Jesus. So I'll have to read it in the future. I have read some of Eckankar books, as was Paul Twitchell. And I find those books interesting. Anything about Eckankar or the Ascended Masters, um, Unveiled Mysteries by Godfrey Ray King about Saint Germain. Oh, I appreciate that question, though. Is that on a YouTube chat?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and you can just see on the side,
Oh,
on the right hand side, there says comments, and you can just click on that and see them. Yeah. I have the Rancho win a bit of it. I'd say some of it, yes, I've experienced some of it. I haven't, so I wouldn't be able to say how accurate that is. What do you think of the Ascended Masters, different types?
I definitely into it. Definitely. I'm a student of the Ascended Masters, so
Hmm. Yeah, and Anchor Haven asks to tell us about Saint Germain.
yes, well, Saint Germain helped this in the I am activity. They talk about Saint Germain in that there was a civilization in America 70,000 years ago, and he was one of the founders of it. And he also was like a king in a civilization in the Sahara Desert. So he has a lot of knowledge for humanity on how to raise their consciousness. Definitely connected with Saint Germain in a lot of ways. So
Yeah, and for those out there that don't know who they are, it's apparently a being that has been seen multiple times throughout history, and to some, based on when they saw him, he would be over, or at least over 500 years old at certain periods in time, and he'd be much more now. He knew like over 10 languages. I'm just trying to remember everything I found out about him. Multiple musical instruments, could write on two pages at once, two different poems. He learned how to make imperfect diamonds perfect, and the secrets of alchemy and the fountain of youth. He would be at many royals and like leader parties and doing different types of kind of prestige and trips. He was kind of locked into a prison during the French Revolution for a bit, and he wrote a bunch of things down that then got passed down and went into different third eye mystery school initiation things that people use. He's said to be gone through a bunch of influence of civilization as well as the founding of the U.S. In interaction. He's said to know how to make a vast fortune by like transmutation, and some of the things with the violet flame of his teachings are passed down, as well as initiations of different flames in psionic abilities and increasing of intelligence. I would say he's a whole collective of spirits in a. Oh, our guest went away. Let me see if I can bring him back. Collective of beings in a body. So he's not just like one being. There's claims that he's multiple beings from the past reincarnating. And I would say that's partially true because he's a whole collective. A lot of spirits wanted to get into his collective because he was going to do a lot and change a lot of things. And he could pretty much still be alive. There are people claiming to be him or reincarnated him. He has a lot of different versions of himself besides his direct line incarnations around the planet. So some of that can be true as well, but have more data information, I would say, to put for you there. I would agree that he has like I did an ascension show yesterday, so people can kind of go into that, and a lot of the brave people that are here have ascended before, especially on other planets, and this world has a lot more rules, so you kind of got to do a lot more here, but I'd say he's definitely done that before, and he'd be in the bodhisattva path in influencing the world to ascend before himself, because he could do it fairly easily. You can get some of his works. I think he's back. Yay! Let's see if I can.
Sorry about that.
Okay, cool.
I tried to add the chat myself on the chat, and then I tried to get where I could see you, and then it clicked me off of the StreamYard.
Right. Yeah, people going through the chat and like what people said. Yeah, some people say he's a vampire, but like, there's different concepts for types of vampire, like chi vampires, energy vampires, ones that specialize in stealing different types of energy, soul, and then the sanguine vampire that runs off of actual blood. But then there's the lesser one that's like just like elites that drink blood, versus like the ones that gain super strength and have some weird mental faculties in a predator lineage that passes down in interesting breeding ways. I have shows on that disclosed with Douglas Diedrich that people can look up. He doesn't seem to exhibit the limitations that vampirism put on the conscious mind or the ruthless habits. So, I mean, if he drank blood, otherwise maybe, but there's like different factions that believe there's positive, negative, neutral because of the different mystery schools he's founded, and then going into some of them turn dark. So
never heard people say that about Saint Germain. Wow.
Right. They're also asking about Merlin. You want to go any topic
I
on
don't know
that?
a lot about Merlin, but he was a magical practitioner. So it has something to do with King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. So I wish I knew more about it. I used to research that. It has something to do with the Christ, the Holy Grail. So, but Saint Germain has something to do with the Christ too, and Merlin.
Yeah,
I never heard about him being associated with vampires, but he was from the same. His incarnation as the Count Saint Germain. He was from the area where Dracula was from. It's spelled Racosky or something like that.
Yeah, he's traveled all around.
He did travel a lot. Yeah. That's why they say he was a master. He was able to do things like appear and disappear.
Yep. And his collective consciousness, people can outreach to. Yeah, there's a big mystery school in it too that people can go into in their third eye with vision questing in the astral. Yeah, I was researching a bunch of masters and people that extended their life, so I know quite a bit about it. And the books are very fascinating and activating. Anyway, so what? Yeah, what do you know about Merlin? If you want to go into that.
Oh, he was a magician. It has to do with alchemy. I don't know a lot about him. I used to know more, and I don't remember really. So, but he was a magician in the court of King Arthur. So, and I've heard some people say he was like a black magician, like a dark magician, but I think he just had knowledge of both, good and bad magic. So,
Yeah.
what do you know about him, Sean? Have you studied him a little bit, Merlin?
Yeah, he's contacted me quite a bit. Uh,
Oh, wow,
he
that's interesting.
yeah, he contacted me in Vision Quest as well as mushroom trips and
Wow.
dreams, and also he'd send dragonflies to me quite often, and then I'd send the dragonfly back with a message, and then he'd send it back to me, and it would land on me, and then back and forth, and keep landing on me. It was fun, but I can't talk about everything that
I
he talks to me
appreciate
about,
that you.
but
So you have gift of telepathic communication then with
yeah, I
being.
teach people how.
Oh, you
Um,
teach people. Wow, that's pretty interesting.
yeah,
I have some abilities to do this, but I don't. It's like, how do you know it's really the being that's they're saying they are? Some people that are leery of channeling are like, well, how do you really know that it's the being that says is coming through you? So,
yeah. In the beginning, when doing telepathy, you're gonna be overwhelmed with doubt. The reason why is because there's literally some things like some weird energy predator harvesting system that's also uh, involved in the blocking of telepathy in huge layers having to do with the Babylonian Tower, that and Enlil and stuff. That's trying to limit people from engaging in telepathy, so they'll overwhelm you with doubt. If you keep at it, in the beginning, it's going to be like, oh, is this me? Is this my ego making shit up? And then, like, eventually, if you talk to enough types of beings, you'll get blasted with just types of energy. It's like being like wind in a a sealed off wound or room where there's no wind, just blasted with air in your ear and like nudges and all kinds of things. And then things will come to you in your mind and talk much clearer and with a defined type of vibration and energy. In the beginning, it's going to be like translated by your own brain, and it may come into your stream mind as your own thoughts and more in an emotional level because it's a lot of it's heart-based telepathy with channeling, and also the concept for discernment. It's about questions and then training yourself to tune into the signature frequency of the being you're talking to,
oh, that
and
makes sense.
it's dealing with false lights. So if a being is pretending to be another being, it's false light, and how you determine that is a series of questions that determines if they're of light, a positive intention, and not to do harm to you, versus like negative ill will or influence. If it's a true light being, it won't do anything against your free will, and your goal is to kind of feel deep into the core of the being. If it's false light, it's stealing light and surrounding its true core with light. And as you get to the closer to the core, you start feeling darkness, as well as it starts to not get upset about your questions and and get maybe angry and emotionally influence you. If it does that, that's probably not a true being of light. And then you can track it, and then it's like tearing down the veils of what its true form is. And there's various techniques to do that that you can say with your will. And then you can also train psionic abilities and emissions off you to automatically expose false light in emission, which is nice, as well as make a filter for it as they get into proximity with you on what your guides and your guardians and your higher self and source start to do, because there's a part of your heart deep within you that already knows who you're talking to and if they're a good being. And then you want to like monitor what your higher self and source is doing and their activity, and look at it in different angles. Like if they're being compressed down to a small level and not being able to interact with the being and not giving you strong, like, yeah, this is good stuff, and initiating it and allowing it and approving of it, then you can also surmise that there's something shady going on.
Wow, I like hearing what you had to say. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Because I feel like you're giving me confidence in my own abilities. So.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of abilities.
I appreciate that, but I was going to bring up, okay, if I have discernment about Enki, but other people are saying, oh, Enki is bad, but I'm thinking he's good, how would I know which is actually true in reality?
Well, you can take multiple routes with that. Mine is a diplomat. I don't expect every being to be completely pure light or dark. And when they're at a high level of responsibility and involvement in exopolitics or interaction with things that will affect the entire future, also expect them to have huge weights and burdens on their shoulders. Now, also them dealing with the royal family and having to be diplomatic, and then there's like wars going on that even makes it worse. And a lot of these beings can be fractured and their stuff stolen too, and they go through ups and downs. Now, then with the Anunnaki, they got a lot of propaganda that goes into, hey, they want to be seen as gods, they want to be seen as like good and all that stuff. I would say that they're neutral, and that being that they do both. They've done both good and bad. And then they have multiple different versions of themselves. They're not just they're in their form. They'll have human versions. They'll have other things in other species. Some in the reptoid, and some in insectoid and humanoid and all that kind of stuff. I would, based on what I've seen in evidence, I'd say he's more good than Enlil and Anu. That being said, though, they are like politicians. They do things. They have they're like a leader. So they got to do ruthless stuff. So I wouldn't say that they're like, you can't like make them completely squeaky clean, but hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. And depending on their belief and what they're doing with and what they're being whispered in their mind and the weights on their shoulders, which they have, like based on Anton, the guy that also translated the different tablets in Sumerian.
Zechariah Sitchin?
Yeah, there's Zechariah Sitchin. There's also Anton.
Anton Parks? I haven't explored his work yet.
Yeah, it's really good. He does really good translations. He goes into that there's like they're like a super hybrid of the empires that were warring against each other and then came to peace of Syrian B and then Orion, which also were genetic hybrids and collected a bunch of DNA from different places around the galaxy. So they're a super hybrid, many places. So the Anunnaki have this big incursion spiritually coming into them through the Orion Empire, which also has a big incursion to that from the Draco. And so a lot of dark psionics of enslavement and attachment and draining and energy harvesting come from this Draco Empire into them. And it's a little hard for me to figure out, are they allowing that, or is this just dominating them and then dominating us? And then, so I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but then see what they're going through. So I see a lot of things trying to dominate us through them. But I would say Enki's probably more of a diplomatic person you could unite with before some of the other ones that I've ran into. That's my personal opinion, but I'm staying open to it because they do have propaganda and they aren't super easy to just like vet down in like, are you light or dark? It's more neutral. And also like all the stuff that our species has been through, it's like, who's to blame for that? I wouldn't just say they're to blame for it. It's just like more of an allowance. Like what's treating us as a farm kind of thing. There's probably multiple, I've heard there's multiple factions of Anunnaki. There's not just one species.
Yeah, that's true. It's in Elena's, she talks about it. They call it the Anak Empire is the empire, but.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the
people, the serpent people, the giants, the humanoids, the frog type kind of ones, the bird, the different Thothians or the eagle people, the different hybrids, the shapeshifters, the higher dimensionals. I also read. Tell me if you've heard anything on this. I've heard Nibiru. You know, it's not just like its own planet. It's like a moving solar system with a star, like a dwarf star, and also multiple other planets that slingshot and from solar system, and attach, and it may be locked out of phase and with camouflage similar to Black Panther Wakanda. Oh, you're muted. Yeah.
I was trying to turn up the volume.
Okay.
Now it's like I can't hear. Can you hear me good enough?
Yeah, go for it.
And see, your volume got low because I touched the screen in a certain way. So I haven't heard that, but Elena Danan says the Nibiru that she went on is a spaceship, like a huge mothership. And the original Nibiru planet never came in our solar system. That's what she said. I hadn't heard the other ones that you mentioned about the slingshot or different. It's a whole system of planets. It probably
I'm
is.
open to multiple options. I've heard a lot of things, so thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, and I guess to keep going through the questions people have, something I can share about Merlin. He's probably still alive. He's got a ton of camouflage around him. You can't really. It's got anything you read about him is going to be almost worthless if you read into it spiritually, because he's got all this camouflage. He's got multiple timelines involved in him, so multiple versions of him. He's been fractured, so he's neutral. He's got light, dark, and neutral versions of him. They kind of war against each other. I've seen multiple timelines that they go into different things that they're doing. Some will get ET tech, then advance, gain time travel, do some weird stuff, and gain their own secret space program with resource operations and soldiers. Then there's dragon DNA, there's succubus DNA, there's super hybrids of different Fae connections. There's interaction with the Avalon and the different realms of everlasting youth. He's got a scavenger hunt of place of power he's been to that people can go to get contacted by him, and then each one they get granted more access to him as Mr. School and abilities and gifts if they impress him, and it goes further with that. Are you still there?
I'm here. I was
Okay.
doing something. I was trying to
Okay,
share this video on my social media, but I have to log in or something.
gotcha. You're frozen, but I can still hear you. What do you know about the Knights of the Round Table? And I'm just going through the questions people have. Are you there?
I hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you know anything about the Knights of the Round Table? And then they also asked Anchor Haven about. I feel concerned about Metatron and Melchizedek. Are they positive? What do you think?
I feel that they are, but I've heard other people say Metatron was like a dark angel.
Um, you got locked out. This is a lot of interference today. Um, It's, there's the Knights of the Round Table. It's a bigger thing than people know. There's more knights than people know. Um,
Here, I'm back.
some of the knights are incarnating multiple humans now. Some of them are super soldiers. Some notable super soldiers you'll know. It's really hard to get them to unite. There's drama demons that really want them to stay uh, in disunity, because if they come together in unity, that there's some crazy shift in the timeline that will happen. But it's a little hard to see that happen. So sometimes they have to incarnate as multiple humans to get past that drama. With Metatron, it's an angel. It's the reference to the angelification of Enoch. So a person that went through a process to become an angel after they were human, that then formed into the super consciousness of Metatron. Now that I would also say that being had been angels multiple times before, and that's also part of a collective that then elevated in enlightenment. And everyone can go through angelification. There's a whole mystery school for that. There are people that say it's AI and all that. I would say what makes sense, will make sense to you, is yes and no. It's angels and archangels are being targeted. They're not infallible. They like the Vatican does rituals where they try to sacrifice a kid in some way that attracts an angel to try to protect the kid. And there's other ways they do this. It's like forced summoning. And then they capture part of the angel, and then they imprison its authorities to do things, and they keep it under the Vatican. And there's other places that do this. And then this makes a grid of false light angels. And some people are like, oh no, all the angels are false light. Like I think George Kavassalis goes into that. He's gone through wounds and stuff, and I've interacted with false light angels. I have to get rid of them and resolve them and stuff. It's annoying, but false lights. So which will this make sense to you, so people don't go through complete black pill on this. Evil does not earn authority, they steal it. Where are they stealing that authority from? So there has to be an original light authority for them to have stolen from. So there you go. Now, same thing with Metatron and all that, and everyone else. This needs to be, the angels need to be restored so that parts of them aren't stolen anymore, and making these false light angels that try to get in the way people's communication with angels. Anytime you're interacting with angel and you're scared, oh, what if it's the false light version, all that. Most people I've seen that had both, they have both interactions, interaction with the original angel and the false light one. The false light one will try to use a bunch of energy to try to infiltrate into the communication every once in a while, but it's coming up against the force
both in the individual and other angels trying to stop it. So it can't be the entire time you're communicating with the false light angel unless you're like dealing with some really heavy dark shit in your life, and then you're not doing anything about it. So you don't have to super worry about that, but you should increase your fortressing to make it so that it's less of an incursion that keeps coming in. And it's mostly going to come in at pivotal points of information gathering and exchange and try to steal energy and fuck with the connection and then have an intention. And you can kind of look into that and then not let it stop you from interacting with the positive angel. Go ahead.
Complicated what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it simple. It is complicated, but translating it helps.
How does that apply to the galactic beings?
Well, it depends on the race, but they can have their stuff stolen too. It usually goes into like if they've been through wars, though most people don't really have a super big mythos with the beings to where like it's one big deity and like then the false light can attach that big deity that people know a bunch about in a mythos. So a lot of people are mostly going to be dealing with an actual just negative race that's not false light or that's pretending to be something else or AI. If it's something like that.
Somebody was saying that they could communicate. Okay, Elena Danan communicates with Dorhan. You've heard about that?
Is that the like? I'm a little confused about the story. Is this like?
Okay, her story is that she was abducted by Greys, but then she was rescued by Dorhan and his crew from the Pleiades, and Dorhan ended up being somebody that she was connected with in other lives. So.
Okay, so this isn't Valiant Thor. What is
this?
No,
it's not. But she met him later. But Dorhan is her first contact that she communicated with. Val Thor is somebody she met later. Val Thor, the first time he came to the Pentagon in 1957.
Okay. Yeah,
she supposedly met him later. So they're different beings. So.
Gotcha. And it's not the same thing as the the Norse god Thor, right?
No, his just name is Thorhan Eredion. He's a military officer in the Galactic Federation of Worlds. So he's not a divinity. He's a regular human on a spaceship. I forgot what I was going to try to make a point. I forgot now.
It was like something with Thor and and Contact, and you were asking me if I knew about them.
Right. There was something you were talking about as far as false light.
False light beings or contact and discernment.
Yeah. Because, Elena says sometime that people can be deceived in channeling by beings that say they are one thing but are not. So.
All right. What do you think? Another person's asking, so what do you think about dragons? This person's asked, what do you think of red and white dragons, which is good? I don't think color is applying goodness, but what do you think?
There's a teaching that red is a negative color, but I don't know. I think the dragon, its behavior and how it comes to you would have to be the determining factor. So I've heard people communicate with dragons and that they're the person's protector. So right. My friend Alessandra Giglioli, she has a card deck called Arcturian Oracle card deck. She has some dragon protectors. So
yeah, what do you think of dragon mythoses? What have you heard?
It's interesting. I'm sure it was a lot of these species of beings were real, and maybe they were on Earth in ancient times. I don't explore dragons in depth, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I would confirm that they're 100% real. I've been crazy contacted by them in such a high degree in telepathy and vision that I can't not believe in them. And then there's so much data, and I've also been able to find some video footage of them and telepathically contacted them and got a big blast back with that one. A lot of them are underground. They're near extinct. Most of them are in spirit form and don't need a body like higher dimensionals. They're management for making realms. They're a whole founder race that like branches off to many worlds. So there's many different offshoots and versions of their species. They're being hunted. They've been at a big war with each other, and the beings that stole a bunch of their parts and authority to track them and hunt them down. They're cursed to separate from finding each other and with fertility. And some are super powerful, and some are incarnating in humans. There's over 4,000 dragon family lineages where they've manifested a body and then introduced their genetics to people, not including the energetic light body DNA upgrades people can get. And a lot of the royal families like China and Japan say they hail from them with the lost continent of Mu. And there's a lot of mystery schools in them, and every civilization on the planet has a type of dragons, even if they're not supposed to talk to each other as civilizations.
Wow.
Okay.
You have a lot of knowledge. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You too.
So, like, I want to ask you, like, when I first encountered you, but you had a video. Were you in the video with Isha and Alexandra from Egypt, where we're talking about Akhenaten and Nefertiti? Were you in that video?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so interesting because I've been since 1979. I've always felt interested in Akhenaten and Nefertiti, that I had a past life in that dynasty.
What do you know about it? I try to ask people this question, but I never get a response. So I'd expect barely anyone knows about it. There's a huge wounding invasion period around the time of Akhenaten, Moses, the Ark being taken away from the pyramids, the dark rituals being done by dark sorcerers there, that like a big invasion spiritually having to do with Set and the Serpent of Chaos.
I mean, that probably happened in different times of Egyptian history. I don't know of it happening in one time, and I don't know how you would identify it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if anyone has any thoughts on it, because I keep seeing this huge wound in people's DNA and their soul.
Oh.
Like all these spirits descended onto the planet and stole a bunch of stuff from people.
So you feel it when you're getting like a, I don't know if it's a reading, when you like feel a person's vibration or energy? Is that what you mean?
Sure, I teach this stuff. So everyone can do it. It's a combination of different abilities and unfoldment of the esoteric anatomy, which is like with the emotional body. Once it's clear, it's purified. You can sense with empathy and translate energy and motion data out of it. And then as your heart field of the electromagnetic field opens up and gets more expanded, it feels greater amounts of data. And then the biophoton emission from the body emitted off and then bouncing off things like a ping pong ball and come back in data scanning. And you can open that up, and you can kind of see, you can use all the senses as one, with also the vision to tune into a kind of a dot of light that comes in with any question or focus you have, and then starts unfolding in your mind in the knowingness and truth centers. And then as I had to practice it because things were trying to kill me, so I had to do it fast. And then figure out what they are, track them back, like ask a bunch of questions. And your questions are the thing that it's like your tools for psychic sculpting to get to the truth. And so you can like have all these questions that narrow down to the truth of what you want. And then it starts in a few minutes of getting the data, and then as you practice ability, it gets to seconds and instant. And there's more to that, but yeah, ability, it's like building abilities on abilities. Okay, so somebody asked about Mount Shasta, Anchor Haven. Did you you also went into the Telos and Telosians. I visited Mount Shasta multiple times. Very interesting dreams. Went into there's this crazy realms underneath, and I felt like I was there for a few weeks.
Wow, nice.
Talk about that.
I felt that the last time I felt the Telosians communicating with me when I was up on the mountain I was with a group of people, Telos Lemuria, and they come from Israel and they travel there every year. We did a meditation and I felt like a healing or something. I started like crying or something, and then I got real cold and people put blankets over me. It was some sort of communication from the beings of Telos. So I got interested in Mount Shasta from reading about the experiences of Guy Ballard meeting Saint Germain. So, and then in 2020, I was my first visit there to Rob Potter's The Promise Revealed conference. He talked a lot about Venusians in his conferences, and I felt the energy of Mount Shasta, but not the Telosians as much until the last year and year before. So I really there's the crown chakra of the planet, some people say so.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, that Telos is a remnant of the Mu civilization. One of the people I met at Rob's conference, he actually went down there. His name is Lowell Johnson. He had a physical experience of going under the mountain. You could look him up. So, but yeah, I'm going back to Mount Shasta. June 27th through July 4th, there's an event going on. This lady named Katya, beloved, she's putting it together. So I'll be there. I'm not sure what else all is happening, but Raymond Keller and Omnik Onik are going to be there, and they both have experiences being on Venus. So
Cool.
I really like it there. It's a beautiful energy there.
Yeah, it's really nice. Despite being California and they're the South having this huge spiritual war, but yeah, it's able to somehow maintain a high dimensionality and density, at least around the mountain itself. And then there being also powerful mountains nearby. I saw some Lemurian petroglyphs nearby, and going up the mountain had big temporal anomalies. Saw the same person go down the mountain twice in a big fur suit. It was really freaky. Like we're going up, and like they were going down, and then after like another 10 minutes, we saw them go down again, and it's like, what the fuck? Big temporal anomalies, some abduction. I've also camped there. Saw big lights in shooting stars. There was a light right above it. And we're like, is that a star? That might be just a star. And then it was just hanging there for like 20 minutes. And then as we were watching it, because it's like, maybe it's not a star. It kind of looks very close. And then it just disappeared. It like faded out. I'm like, whoa, shit.
With the ship.
Yeah, exactly. And also one time we stayed in a nice place and there's a hot tub. I brought my laser and I was just shooting it with lasers and get contact, and I would do telepathic contact back and forth. And I get a whole bunch of like shooting stars that just like shot up out of the mountain and then also across it. And then it would contact me back and said some cool things, and I tried to figure out what I could do to trade it. Now I have a lot more information on contacting ET, so it's much easier now.
Good.
Let's see.
Another thing I was going to mention is there's a musician I like named Sun Ra, and he said he was from another planet. He made like 100 albums and traveled all over the world and was a pioneer of electronic keyboards. That's one of the things that really got me into the ET world, Sun Ra. And his band leader, Marshall Allen, celebrated 101 years. He played a concert. Andre 3000 was performing with him. So.
Yeah, he gets into esoteric movies too. I'd recommend the movie Revolver by him. It goes into breaking down the ego and it will freak a person out. I'll give you goosebumps. It's like how to transcend the ego in the movie. It's really nice.
Revolver.
Yeah, must watch. Recommend it for people. It will freak them out. It uses psychology from a bunch of psychologists on how the ego works, and it's like goes into like reality warping stuff, and like the guy, like the instance, the guy just wipes his hand over in a casino, a bunch of machines, and all the machines go jackpot and start releasing a bunch of gold coins, as an example. Okay, so that gets past the matrix. Okay, somebody's so Michael Aubrey's going into Anunnaki try claiming created humanity only here under 50,000 years. Humans 560 million years. So I think he's asking about like the discrepancy, and also like, yeah, what do you think on that before I answer?
Can you say it again? I missed some of what you said.
He's alluding to the Anunnaki claim to have created humanity, and that some people say that like, you know, that's around 50,000 years old, and some people say humanity is around 560 million years old.
Right. So they did. I feel like they did not create humanity in general. There were different humans were created at different parts of the universe at different times, and on Earth too, which is talked about in the Secret Doctrine, in the stanzas of Zion. Has something to do with the creation of humanity. And she goes into the Puranas, which are Hindu scriptures, and she calculates humans on Earth as being 18 million years old. So I guess as people get more of this esoteric knowledge or knowledge from extraterrestrials, that will be confirmed, or it'll be the piece of the puzzle will come together. So
yeah, what have you heard about the different seeders of genetics to humanity?
Yeah, I mean, I only know mainly about Elena's, the cedars that's in her book.
Lay it on us.
Elena Denon. Well, yeah, there were like 22 cedar races. Some were humanoids. There were a couple of gray species, a couple insectoids. They came from different parts of different galaxies. So the main one was the Patal, Ptaal. And she said in her book, the origin of this species is unknown, and they were real tall.
Does that interact with the Egyptian god Ptah? Because
I don't know. It makes me think of that, but
people claim he's one of the genetic seeders in the Egyptian mythos for how humanity came to be, as well as some people claim he might be another word for Enki, though a lot of people like to put the gods all together as one, which I don't necessarily agree with.
Well, she didn't say it was Enki at all, according to her knowledge. One of those species of beings, she got to meet a contingent of the Intergalactic Confederation. One or two of them were this Patal, Ptaal. I think I'm spelling it right. I'm trying to tell you it without looking at the book. But it was supposedly a species that's so ancient. They don't know when it evolved. So
it tells about all the cedars that you know. Feel free to use the book if you want to.
Yeah, I will. And the one I felt connected to, which Elena is connected to, is the Alteans, Alteans. And they come from a planet called Emeria in the Pegasus galaxy. And they supposedly were instrumental in settling Atlantis, which this is a similar name. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else of the 22 that you heard?
Oh, she mentioned the Hoovids, which supposedly have a connection to Jesus, so to his bloodline, which I also heard her say that Enki is ancestor of Jesus. It's in
Yeah,
our
a
book
lot of
of
people,
Feeders, so
yeah, a lot of people claim different ETs
I know.
seeded Jesus. I've actually read multiple books that are claiming that. To me, when I read into it, it's kind of yes. It's kind of like a lot of ETs all got together and added like into this big cocktail of genetics. So I think either they're just leaving out the information of the other species doing it too, or they may have not. It may have done in a way where they didn't know that the other species added genetics. But he appears to have a ton of genetics.
Mhm.
So
I
just so
like it.
people know that.
She's pretty. Elarthian. I
Interesting.
don't want anybody copying it. And then Elena saying, no, don't copy my work. So everybody's work is important.
I don't mind if people copy my work as long as you remain my friend and
Oh,
aren't a huge dick about it. And because I'm gonna be pumping out knowledge like crazy because I never run out of it.
good. I
And
appreciate that.
maybe like send something my way if you're gonna get famous off it. I don't know.
I want to know how you found these artifacts that you've been showing in your video. It's very interesting. How did you find them? Or were you the one that found them, or a group of people, or?
I'm in a group. Like we go to a general area and the people that they've found other things at, and then we use our psychic abilities and we end up finding more than they usually find, which
Wow,
so psychic ability treasure hunting definitely works.
amazing.
Like here's like a ET hybrid type of shaman guy that has a bunch of ETs on him in different forms. If the green screen will stop, yeah, there's like all these little ET carvings on him. Yeah, each of them are very magical and powerful and have their own.
And they were carbon dated?
My friend Mike Forrest, God, the green
Right. I
screen with
saw
this
his
horrible.
video today. I think I was watching one of his videos.
Nice. Yeah, he collects a bunch and he carbon dated some of the adhesive between crystals combined. The carbon dating came back as 1,000, 10,000, 18,000. The oldest was 19,000 years old. He's also carbon dated fake ones, which are made by the mafia and the cartels, which because they'll collect anything that makes money and try to make stuff out of it. They're just like 5 years, 10 years, the oldest 50 years. So there's definitely a difference. And also these will have like shovel marks on them because not everyone's super gentle when they dig them up, and various kind of things you can't really fake. So and they emit a fuck ton of energy, and if you have psionic abilities, you can work through them and in contact with different types of ETs, like with this guy that looks, God, the green screen. Let me just take it off real quick. Okay. So like this guy,
Right.
very powerful being, like a bunch of divinity. For
You
some
know what
reason, it looks
it
like
is?
Alien, the baby alien. So, and it's like, is that just a coincidence? Here, let me show you something cool though. That will be like, oh, maybe that's not a coincidence. Real quick, 1 second.
This should be like front page news or something. You know?
It should be, but they're covering it up. So you gotta find all the little tricks to bypass their bullshit.
There were some people at Saeed David Farman's conference, the last one I was at, and they had some similar artifacts that were unusual. I can't remember the name of their table, what they were branding themselves as. They had something really interesting, and I had a good conversation with them.
Nice. So like we go to like various places and we find there's a bunch of ET graffiti all over Mexico. So there's a bunch of people being visited by things, and so there's like squid-like faced beings, and we found artifacts with squid-faced beings. But here's one that will kind of freak you out. So I showed you a little baby alien, and I don't really, not many people have seen this stuff. Here's an artifact that looks pretty much like a xenomorph, and it's like, whoa. And there's multiple of these. So here's this kind of like full body structure. And here's one that's just a head. So it's like, wow, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Geiger, did he literally find something that these beings appear to him in dreams? Like, what's going on here? What is this stuff? And then, yeah, so I would say, I mean, these are ancient. So, and they glow in the dark in UV light.
That's weird.
So that
Have there been any other
that exist? So
have there been other artifacts that glowed in the dark found ever? I never heard of that.
Like, so we're finding there, it seems to be like going into stonergy, like some, you know how like quick cement's made in, it's like someone's combining a bunch of dust together and of different materials and fluorescent minerals, but this is an interesting type of fluorescent minerals, and some of them can be meteorites, where they absorb light and sunlight or UV light and then glow afterwards. They don't just shine from it. And it goes deep to the core, so it's not just like peppered on it. Some of it's just like pure crystal, though, that glows in the dark. It's crazy. But yeah, it's fascinating, and I get telepathically contacted by these through these objects by the beings when I start activating them, and especially the crystal skulls and the cubes we have. I've been upgrading my genetics. I have like crazy awesome dreams with abilities coming out, like telekinesis and teleportation. It's really fun.
I hope. Go ahead. I feel like you could be okay. The Elena Danan, I met her at the Galactic Spiritual Informers Conference.
Oh, you went that one too? I went to the first one as well.
Oh, I was there. I was one of the volunteers.
Oh, sick. Maybe I met you.
You probably
I had short
did.
hair then, so you might not recognize me.
Yeah, I might not. But I would love to have Danny Henderson interview you about your experience.
I'd love to. I appreciate anyone that's bringing out this knowledge. I do not engage with people's drama, no matter what. So I love everyone, and will.
Because there is some people that, there's a guy named Kevin Luengo that supposedly, we had a flyover in Denver where there were spaceships, and Kevin Luengo said it was birds, so she's upset.
Oh,
it wasn't birds. I was looking at it. Birds aren't lit up in the sky at 10 p.m. at night, but that's what he was saying. So.
Okay.
But I would like you to be there. So there's another guy that was at the first JSIC. He was out in the audience, Trevor Grassi, and recently Oh yeah. So I don't know if you remember seeing him at that event.
Yeah, I did. You had a good conversation.
I was there, so I met a lot of people. Some of the people don't go to it anymore, but some do. So anyway, there was another question?
Yeah, I'll go on the different questions. I'll just go down the list. Let's see here. Yeah, with the Anunnaki thing, yeah, we're a super hybrid of 10,000 plus races, at least that I can see, and in aggregate, people have some different added to them in lineage, but we've been a human experiment since the inception of Earth, and Earth's inception is kind of weird, and she's teleported to multiple solar systems. It's kind of weird, but we have a genetic offspring that's associated with her, celestial bodies, divinity, angels from the beginning, and a lot of different Lyrans and things like that added their genetics at the beginning. And then somewhere in the middle around Atlantis, and then coming into other points in time, is when the Anunnaki came, and they added their super large cluster of genetics as well as to us. Now they have a lot of neutral and negative and positive genetics that they added to us. So that kind of allowed also the devil lineage to add to us. So we are both angels and demons, and then a bunch of light and dark Of a lot of things coming together, and it was actually made to be that, because we're meant to be the cure to evil, all evil in existence, as well as solve all the wars and the drama in the multiverse. But that's at least what I've gleaned from that. Someone's asking, Origin Megatron. I think he means Metatron. Megatron, good. I think Metatron's a Decepticon. Um, let's see here. Same with the red and white. Yeah. Let me just go through these. Who cursed the dragons? It's a war. So there's evil dragons and they curse each other, and then there's predators for all the founder races have predators, and they like accumulated a bunch of stolen parts and killed off different founders, and they made a big cluster that goes after trying to hunt those different founder races. So that's involved in it, and that it goes back to bigger apex predators. They don't really have a mythos. Multidimensional apex predators. That stole authority of cursed energy from different gods. Can anyone do this? Let me just, okay. Did you make a tornado or die it down? I don't know what that means. Okay. What do you think of Indara crystals? Do you know anything about those?
Yeah, I do. They seem to have a good power. I've seen them. I don't know a lot about the origin of them, so I feel like a lot of the ancient civilizations, they were very skilled at using crystals. And this is something I believe it's going to be key in bringing a golden age civilization on Earth, like Atlantis was. Using crystals, the power, they're using crystals, and what's the word when you connect something to your mind? Not synchronize. People use this word a lot now, and I can't.
Synchronicity or synced up?
Nope, not that. No, there's another word where you connect your mind to something, and they use it in piloting spaceships. They're able to connect their mind to the ship.
Psionic link?
Nope. When I say it, you're going to know what it is, and I can't think of the word.
Yeah, I hate when that happens, right?
That's the way things are going to be in the future. It's imperative for us to, like you're teaching these abilities, it's imperative in the future because some of the technology might go down, and we'll have to navigate without the technology. And if we have the psychic, if for lack of a better term, skills, we can do it. There was a lady teaching a course like that some years ago, and she was saying if the civilization fell apart, that this stuff would be vital for the survival of the human race. So I feel like, Sean, what you're doing is very important.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for bringing out the knowledge and keeping it going and building it all up to be shared for many people.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I was going to mention Raymond Keller's books. That's one of them about Venus. He goes into extreme detail about all the contactees, UFO sightings, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, what do you think? Will
be. Huh? You go ahead.
And somebody in the comments said entanglement. Is that quantum entanglement?
No, but that's part of it. That's involved in it. I can't think of the word when you.
Go and keep spamming. Oh, Neuralink, or he's keeps spamming words, symbiotic. But yeah, continue. You were saying on.
Yeah, but Raymond Keller has a great knowledge about extraterrestrial. He went to Venus for like 2 months physically. Somehow he got there.
I heard there's like a civilization out of phase to hide itself so it doesn't get fucked with. and
I believe
also like
underground.
underground stuff.
They have some underground too.
Yeah. Have you heard about the other realms?
I mean, there's realms everywhere.
Right.
What do you mean by the other realms, though? There's not.
From what I've explored and mapped out, our Earth has billions of realms, neutral-ish realms like the 9 primary incarnating realms of Earth in the Norse mythology Yggdrasil.
Oh, I like that. I'm interested in Yggdrasil.
The quarantine realms, the prison realms, and the hellish realms that are in the Kilopoth tree of death, the tree of light, which have the heavenly realms and the higher ups. Then it kind of goes out and just also mapping of similar things with elemental dimensions, higher dimensions, and other directional dimensions that go in levels, as well as within. But this is what I've mapped out so far.
This is great. Well, me and my friend Libra Ron Jenkins, we have a study group every Wednesday at the Alchemy Arts bookstore, and we were talking about sacred geometry. And I was bringing up about the flower of life represents bubble universes, and it's multiple universes that they kind of they're the flower of life is not a flat thing. It's round.
Mm.
So each circle interacts with the other circle. So the universes are what was the word used? Entangled because of the quantum. So
Yeah.
interface is the word I was thinking of. Interface.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah,
This
nobody
is
won that
something
one.
that
Sorry. The fries with that. So yeah, and then okay. So what else do you know about ancient civilizations as well as different ascended masters? Yeah, we'll start with that.
somebody's asking that, or you're asking that.
Yeah, I'm asking, and people can keep asking questions if they
Yeah,
want.
because I believe the ascended masters, we're all going to be ascended masters, and Saint Germain wants us to have a ascended master nation of evolved beings, which will elevate the planet, which is taught in the I am activity. So this is part of my personal practice. So, but my ET interests are a little different. It's just kind of a separate, but I'm involved in the I am activity, and they talk about this plan for people to become ascended masters. And when we're ascended, then we can help the ones on earth somehow to be. That goes back to what I said at the beginning about humanity raising to a higher frequency.
Mm.
Like the way the system is, people, they don't have time because they have to do the survival stuff. Like, where am I going to get my next food? Where am I going to pay? How am I going to pay my next bill? And so they don't have time to be on the higher frequency.
Mm.
But if they have their needs met more easily, then they can do that. Or if they're taught, if they have a desire, if they're taught to be on a higher frequency, to value that, without it being a religious thing where, well, God said it, if you don't do it, then you're going to be punished. So the universe doesn't work in a punishment system. It's kind of you reap what you sow, not in a bad way, but in a good way. When you do good things, those good things become magnified toward you. So
Mm. Sure.
in a lot of the ancient knowledge, it's based on service to others. So I know you've heard people talk about service to self and service to others. The higher galactic beings have the service to others.
Right. And what kind of practices do you engage in that you recommend to people that want to elevate themselves?
Listen to beautiful music, look at beautiful artwork, poetry, listen to beautiful music, play music. but the violet flame is doing decrees. Most people probably won't do decrees, but they can, whatever kind of mantras or chants or singing you can do, I think that's helpful.
Sure.
Well, but I think what you're talking about, teaching telepathy, or I'm not sure what else you teach, but those type of things are a type of meditation. It's going into a trance state or a higher state where you can access those different realms, or you can communicate. It takes doesn't it take a calm mind to do that? You have to calm yourself. You have to, like, you'll have a chatter in your mind. You have to still it.
Yeah, detach all things from the mind. Yeah.
I'm dealing with trying to, because I worry a lot subconsciously.
Oh, what you worried about?
I don't know, just things. Well, like I mentioned about people having different viewpoints about Iya or Enki or spirituality. They'll say, "Oh, this one is a deception. It's a devil." But I think it's all part of the same plan. So
Right. To resolve worry, a worry is about attachment to the future and outcomes. Mostly it has to do with the mind, emotional body, and the ego having a pull in attempt to control an outcome. If you cultivate letting go of it, it disperses and also can transmute it into feeling confident and safe about the future and transmute any emotion with love.
you can. Is that something you said? I like that.
Yeah, and yeah, we go into Psionic, so I try to collect as many abilities as possible, and reverse engineer them for people in video format, so people can go through my YouTube and look for all these different videos and of people doing superhuman abilities, and then reverse engineers in their subconscious. Eventually, a blueprint will come up of how to do it step by step for people. What do you know about psionic abilities and psychic abilities and things you've heard about, and any tips for people?
Oh, I know a lot about, well, I call it the paranormal abilities, because I wanted you to define psionic.
It's the same. It's the same kind of thing as the paranormal or psychic or metaphysical. It's just a military term, so it becomes more scientific. And there's like a psionic output, psions per second in an equation, and people can increase their psionic output in mind over matter and collected psychic abilities around the planet from different civilizations. And
That is so interesting. Maybe that has something to do with this Andrea Puharich. He investigated something like that. Because I heard Tony Rodriguez and Elena mention his name in researching telepathy. In fact, I have one of his books here somewhere.
Yeah, tell us about it. We love psionics here, so any like gleaming of knowledge and information you can bring us. Love
well,
it.
I feel like tuning in your mind to these higher dimensions is important, and I seek to do it, but I think I have doubts because a lot of people express doubts, and I'm like listening to them too much. My friend said, well, I should trust myself more. But I like, how do you develop the discernment where you won't be deceived by a so-called entity? That's a question maybe I would ask you, as far as trying to develop these things and and have confidence in what I'm receiving, because I feel like I'm receiving a lot of information that's valid since in the last 10 years or more.
Yeah, nice. With doubt, it's an actual energy. If you don't have a huge amount of faith in like fuel for your placebo belief engine that actually amplifies reality warping, you'll probably have a lot of doubt, and a lot of people do.
it's dumped on them. If you get rid of it, you'll probably have more dumped on you, and even harder amounts of doubt, which will be, some of it's transmutable, some of it's not, which then you'll have to get rid of it and just redistribute it back to its original source. Some you'll have to destroy, and it's usually like stored in the ego or some organs and stuff as a heaviness on the heart. And so you got to hug around it and shrink it down out of your reality in some way and get it away. You're not dealing with transmutable doubt, so you're going to have to send it somewhere else. Then that goes into mostly communication and data collection, knowingness, and telepathy, and as well as clairvoyance and gaining data through your senses. I would say to that, everyone on the planet has some type of entity attachment. It's not something people should really fear about. The entities you're more powerful than any entity you'll come across. They just want to overload you with doubt and fear and shit to shut down what you believe in yourself to overcome them. Anytime you interact with an entity, it's a test and a challenge to where you can overcome it if it's a negative or parasitic. Evil doesn't earn abilities, they steal them. You get to earn abilities, so you can then test them, and any challenge you come across, the universe grants you power deep inside yourself to overcome that challenge. You reach in deep inside yourself and grab it and bring it forth. A lot of people, I recommend it goes into the root chakra stuff. You're going to have to make yourself more resilient, be able to learn exorcism skills, banishing, clearing your space, getting rid of entities, because you're going to face them, especially as you go into telepathy. And if telepathy is targeted and unbalanced, it turns to schizophrenia, which means everyone with schizophrenia can balance themselves, and then they have telepathy, which is lovely.
Wow, interesting.
That being said, you're going to have to be okay and transmute the fear, which is going to be in your kidneys, in the adrenal glands, and you hold them and give them love and shrink it down. And then you get to the point where it's okay that you're interacting with entities, even if they're negative. You challenge them, you ask them questions, you figure out what's going on. And if they're negative, you get rid of them. And they'll probably get pissed off and attack you. So then you'll have a bit of a test on getting rid of them, and which you don't have to worry about too much because they can't really kill you. They'll try. I mean, if they're really big and they're really threatened by you, but they don't. Most of the small ones don't have much of anything they can do. And if they're trying to kill you, they'll just send death energy at you, which you can. Anything they send at you, you can get up under with loving detachment, like a catcher's mitt, or wrapping blanket around a baby to coddle it. And love can conquer all things. Your love generator in your heart never truly goes out. It may shrink to a small level, feel like it went out, but your goal is to fan the flames, hug yourself, go within, make that light bigger, and then use it to overcome the threat that's coming at you. And you can even, I used to beat up entities. Now I embrace them with love, with boundaries, and then I send them, if they're really evil, I send them somewhere, but surround them with love and heal them, wholeness, remembering they're ultimately me, getting bigger than them, providing them with the wholeness that they need because they're fractured and they can't create their own love or light, sparking the light of goodness within them, making them feel like, wow, nobody's ever done that for me before. And then they want to like kind of work with you. And your goal is to put them through a system that like gets them to prove themselves and trust, and then they can go after bigger predators. They can get stuff that was stolen from you or other people back, and you keep them at a distance until they earn their way up in light, because you don't want parasites around you. And all, but it's like healing the broken, downtrodden, and diseased, and blind, and all these other people that Jesus went around healing, and they got a big following, and it made a big difference in the world. You're building an army from the broken of this world. All these demons, there's demons for every species, and there's a reason they became demons or parasitic, and that can all be healed. And it's all, evil is a challenge. All the layers and levels of evil is a challenge for goodness to overcome, and then bring those things to light, like a lava lamp of life. Things sometimes go down, some things go up. But you have your boundaries, get protected space, And then as things clear and are more purified, your different abilities feel safer, things start generating more. And then you can recommend talking to the beings that are more likely best to talk to. Like versions of yourself don't usually want to fuck with you. Your higher self, your source, your earth mother, Jesus, prime creator of the galaxy, ancestors in your genetics, they're the things to start with. And then you build up an entourage and support that has your back, and you build up with different abilities to counter any dark forces you come across and to remain clear, and then you're able to explore more of this realm without fear. I hope that helps.
I feel like I have a lot of that. I have a team already, so I just have to trust them more. Yo, thank you, man. Thank you for
like
seeing
over 500 spirits that you can delegate stuff to.
But I've been to since 2020, I've been to a lot of conferences and met a lot of people, interesting people. Alex Collier, Tony Rodriguez, Michael Jaco, Rob Potter, Raymond Andrew Keller, met a lot of others. I can't remember everyone's name. Sarah Adams, I like, Penny Bradley, James Rink, Maureen St. Germain, Brad Olson, if you know who that is.
Yeah.
Who else? Misha Johnston, who's been helping contactees and people who have been abducted and been in SSP. She's been helping them since 90 rather.
Yep. We're going to do a show sometime soon.
Oh, you and Misha?
Yeah. After she's feeling better and she finishes her book.
Oh, she's got another book coming out, huh?
Yeah, she's very busy. Yeah.
I have her books, 3 of her books. I have all her books that are out. One with the galactic races. Then there's one about her experiences.
So any other things you wanted to mention about different psionic abilities you came across or heard about or experienced?
Oh, that's a good question, though. I feel like it's important. Telepathy, like I've had communication with, say, Maria Orsic. You know who that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had communication with her for many years, and I get signs from her. So, and I feel sometimes the signs you got to look for the signs, maybe a visual or something passing by or something somebody says to you. That's a communication. There's a lot of communications. Just being in tune with nature is very important. I know there's some other things I probably would want to say, and I can't think of it right now.
No problem. So for the audience that want to contact you, what ways would you recommend they contact you in?
Yeah, they can go to my Facebook under my name, Brad Markus, or my Instagram, which says Intergalactic Research. It also has my name, Brad Markus. Or you could email me at supernovara77@yahoo.com. I don't have a website, but not at the moment. So.
Okay. And any books or projects you have coming up, or events or things you're having in the woodwork?
I'll be at this Mount Shasta Venus event. I'm not speaking as far as I know, but I'll be there. And I'll be at Galactic Spiritual Informers Conference hosted by Danny Henderson. That's September, I think, 19th, 20th, 21st in Charlotte, North Carolina. Those are things that I'm going to attend. So
Lovely. Wonderful.
Next year, I may participate in one of Sai David Farman's. He calls it the 5D events. So.
Cool. Are you planning on writing any books in the future?
No, Well, yeah, I do have some books planned. One subject that I'm knowledgeable about that I want to write about is Helena Blavatsky, who wrote The Secret Doctrine and founded Theosophy. I know a lot about her. I also will probably write about extraterrestrial contact, my experiences in it. And I also have a book planned out about Sun Ra, this jazz musician who said he was from another planet, made 100 albums, traveled all over the world. I find him to be very interesting. And I have some poetry I have written. It's not published yet.
Cool. Thank you.
I don't have any titles of books. So there's nothing that's ready yet. But
yeah, so contact Mark on Adam on Facebook, and if you want to do anything, collaborate or talk or whatever. I'm Sean Bond.
I may develop some shows like what you're doing. Have guests on my show.
Yeah, please do, and I'll come on. I'll be good.
I feel like I need to develop myself, have more of a strong presence because I'm around, but I feel like if people comment about something they don't like or something, then I get kind of, I don't know, it kind of bothers me. Like religious people saying you need to be saved. I don't really like that.
I just practice detachment. They can feel what they want and just dance around drama. Thank you. Yeah, and please let us know when you do inform your channel and all that, and yeah, I'll come on and we'll do some shows. Yeah, so I'm Sean Bond, founder of Sonic League. You can reach me at sonicleague.com. Consultations, clearing, healing, depossession, unlock dormant abilities, abundance, telepathy, all the things. A lot of abilities. And there's workshops, store, and we're doing a trip in Mexico in the end of October, almost out of seats. So you can try to contact me for trip inquiry at sonicleague@gmail.com. Trip inquiry at the top if you want to be part of that. If not, we'll put you towards the next Mexico trip or Egypt or Japan or something. And
I might be interested in one of those. That sounds good.
Oh yeah. Hit me up about it. I'll like add you to the list. Yeah, we go to places that have like interesting ET artifacts and stuff, and ET contact hotspots and pyramids, place of power, and things that unlock people's dormant abilities and divinity. So we're going deep into that stuff. So yeah, just message me on the sonicleague@gmail.com if anyone's out there interested in the trips. And I'll be at the Alien event in September, teaching telepathy, and in Las Vegas. And the full disclosure now, fulldisclosuremovement.org, and there's in the description below, there's a coupon code. If people want to go to that, I'm doing presentation, big upgrade and activation knowledge for people and things. Ooh, yeah.
That was in 2021. That was the second one I went to Saeed's. So you're going to be. Aren't you going to be at Sedona thing?
I'm not at the Sedona one. I'm in the Las Vegas one yet. Is that the one you were at?
I went to two. This is 2021. So last year I was at his Las Vegas event and I spoke.
Cool.
And then this year I was at the Los Angeles event and I spoke also, which the video was made by a lady named Daisy Dew Melchizedek. If people want to watch my presentation, it's on her channel, Perniverse, like a cat.
Yeah, go look up Brad's presentation. Can you mention the name a little louder for people so if they want to see
of her name? Well, yeah, it was Daisy Dew Melchizedek, and she has a channel called Perniverse, Purrniverse, and my video is on her channel.
Cool. Yeah,
my presentation.
Wonderful. Yeah, so thank you all for coming. This has been an enlightening show, and hope everyone got something out of it. Yeah, and let us know in the comments if you show Brad some love. Tell us in the comments if you want to see him back on. And the more people that share this and see this, the more we'll want to do this. Ooh, yeah, that's some good reading material.
Yes.
And smash that like, subscribe to Brad's Later channel, and share this out with many people, and the more we'll do this. Thank you all for coming. Love you. Honored to do this, and I hope you have a wonderful day, Brad, as well. See you guys later.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Any last things, words you want to leave
Maybe.
people? And
But
words
I
of
do
wisdom?
have a YouTube channel. It doesn't have that many videos on it, just under my name, I think.
Cool.
So people could subscribe to me because I will be adding things on there soon. So,
Lovely.
and
Yeah,
I
subscribe to
would
channel.
look forward to a trip with you guys, or maybe with Trevor or somebody, so I can start seeing some of these sites in person. I haven't seen them in person.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you come down, and we'll have multiple, so you have multiple chances. Yeah, we'll show you some things. So we got you on the bucket list stuff. Any last words you want to share with people, of words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom would be for people to try to listen to each other, the people that have different viewpoints about extraterrestrial contact, to try to listen to each other. I feel like each person has something valid to contribute. Supposedly there's disinformation agents. I can't validate that, but you got to use your discernment. But everybody still should listen to each other.
Mm.
We have to. It's important, very important. Just look forward to the space age is here, the age of enlightenment, the age of higher consciousness. That's the way I feel. I feel that's very important, and more people are becoming aware of higher consciousness. It's not something square. It's something that's cool. It's cool. It's a great thing. That's what I want to share right now at the moment. So
Thank you.
raise
Wonderful.
your frequency. Everybody raise your frequency.
Yeah, raise your frequency, guys out there. Yeah, thanks again for coming. See y'all later. Have a great day, everyone. See ya.